On today's episode, we're going to investigate a patient that has been having problems with his memory. He's coming into the doctor's office to see his MRI results.
Hi, you must be Jihad. I'm
Hello.
Dr. Merrill.
Hi.
Alright, nice to meet you too. I have your MRI results in my office so we can go over there and review those for you, okay?
Great.
So how has your memory been since you last came in?
Honestly, it's getting worse.
Getting worse? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have your MRI results here, and this is a normal brain, and this is your brain here. So what we're seeing is a very big loss of cell mass in this region, which is due to Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's?
Yes. Basically what happens, you have materials building up in your brain called amyloid beta plaques and tau tangles. And I'll show you a little bit about what these look like. So this is what the amyloid beta plaque looks like. It's all these proteins building up. And basically what has happened is there's proteins in your brain that are called amyloid proteins. And these naturally occur, but with Alzheimer's, the amyloid proteins don't fold correctly and build up between the nerve cells, and that causes the memory loss and other symptoms in Alzheimer's.
So how do these proteins work and why are they causing so much harm to my brain?
Alright, well with Alzheimer's, we often see that the proteins fail to fold correctly, like I said, and they build up. So this isn't the cause of Alzheimer's, but it's frequently seen in Alzheimer's patients like you. And it causes a lot of damage to the brain functions because it cuts off the nutrients going to the brain cells and disables neuron communication. What happens scientifically is the amyloid beta polypeptides polymerize and form these plaques that we're seeing in your brain. Also, we're seeing the tau tangles like what I told you about, and this means another protein that's supposed to be there, which is called tau. It hyperphosphorylates and polymerizes into an insoluble filament that builds up in your brain and also causes a lot of damage to the neurons.
I knew my brain was screwed up.
So I'll show you one other thing here. This is what a normal neuron or brain cell looks like. And then this is more what's going on in your brain. You have these tangles building up on the actual neuron, and then you have these plaques getting in the way of the pathways. So that's a problem, and this is what these would look like on a stain. There's just a big plaque of protein, and then there's these little filament tangles also in your brain.
Well, I've been worrying that this might happen and been worrying a lot of my results and what it's gonna be in the future. So I've done some research about possible diagnosis and treatment. So I found this video and it can't cut now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Reifman.
Hi, and I'm Dr. Bell, and today we're going to be talking about Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a severe form of dementia. People usually begin experiencing light symptoms that worsen over a long period of time. Eventually, a person's memory is affected to the point where daily activities are disrupted.
So a common misconception about Alzheimer's and memory loss is the older you get, your memory is supposed to decrease. But however, that's not true. You're supposed to have exactly the same amount of memory retention as you did when you were younger. The reason people experience this is because they are at risk for Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's is the sixth highest cause of death in the U.S. People can survive with Alzheimer's anywhere between 4 and 20 years, but usually the survival rate is 8 years after diagnosis. The reason why Alzheimer's is so deadly is because this is a normal brain, and this is the Alzheimer's disease. The brain is degenerated so that there's just a big gap where there's no brain mass.
So currently there's no cure for Alzheimer's, and the reason for this is it's a very complicated system of why Alzheimer's occurs. So for instance, here we have a healthy microtubule, and here we have an Alzheimer's microtubule. So what happens is there is this protein called tau, and this tau protein is supposed to keep the entire microtubule together. But during Alzheimer's disease, this tau protein detangles from the microtubule and the entire thing falls apart, and then this is the tangle of the tau protein just floating separately when it really should be attached. So scientists are trying to figure out a way to make sure that this doesn't happen, and we're currently looking for a cure.
Thank you.
That's true. As of right now, Alzheimer's is an incurable disease. But as far as treatments, there is an enzyme that can break up the plaques, However, we'll have to look at your medical records to see if you have any signs of hypertension because the enzyme also causes high blood pressure.
Okay, thank you. But I have one last question for you. What exactly are scientists studying when they say they're looking for a cure?
It's such a complicated answer because Alzheimer's affects so many different biological processes.
So what does molecular biology has to do with Alzheimer's and its cure?
Well, aside from what we've already talked about, molecular biology also deals with genetics. So scientists have currently identified 4 genes that are called presenilin 1, presenilin 2, amyloid precursor protein, and apolipoprotein E. And all of these genes together can increase the chances of you getting Alzheimer's by 50%. So basically you have a 50-50 chance if these genes are mutated in a person.
You said mutated, so how does mutation actually work at the level for Alzheimer's?
So when the 4 genes I mentioned are mutated, they disrupt the regulation of the amyloid proteins, and that's what's causing the plaques I talked about. So it's really difficult to deal with these mutations because we don't know exactly how they work yet, and they do cause a lot of damage.
So there is a way to correct this mutation or block their effect?
That scientists are trying to figure that out now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I guess I'm not screwed.
Hopefully not. We'll see you soon. So
Thank you.
Try to get better.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hold on, feeling like I'm headed for a breakdown, and I don't know why, but I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell. I know right now you can't tell, but stay a while and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy, I'm just a little